I must thank Reverend Bishop Jayasekera for inviting me to speak a few words when the Methodist educational enterprise celebrates 210 years of its existence in Sri Lanka. In fact, when I spoke with the Bishop Jayasekera yesterday, he mentioned that there had been 188 educational institutes in Sri Lanka prior to the government took over the private schools under its wings in 1962. I am here speaking to you in my capacity as the president of Colombo Young Men's Buddhist Association, which is the oldest, largest and the foremost Buddhist association in the country, and I believe it is the oldest functioning Buddhist association in the world. Colombo YMBA was started in 1898 by a gentleman called Sir D.B. Jayasekera. Now only I realize that Wesley College is a Methodist school. Sir D.B. Jayasekera was a Wesleyite. He came from Wesley College and went on to start the Colombo Young Men's Buddhist Association, also with another gentleman called C.S. Disanayaka, who became our first secretary. And Mr. C.S. Disanayaka was a Catholic boy. So it was a Buddhist boy and a Catholic boy who got together 125 years ago to start the Colombo Young Men's Buddhist Association. And then I was seated next to the Dr. Imbrugama, and he asked me what is the difference between Colombo Young Men's Buddhist Association and All Ceylon Buddhist Congress. There are two institutions. And he asked, then I said, both were started by Sir D.B. Jayasekera. So he asked, why did he start ACBC after 30 odd years of starting the Colombo Young Men's Buddhist Association? So my reply to him was, in my opinion, Colombo Young Men's Buddhist Association played a more political role, whereas ACBC played a religious role. So much so, Colombo Young Men's Buddhist Association is the institution that started Sri Lanka's first political movement, Ceylon National Congress, which is now called the United National Party. It doesn't mean to say that the Colombo Young Men's Buddhist Association is anyway linked to the United National Party. But so that is the political role we play. And it was under the Colombo YMBA roof that national leadership grew. Likes of Ponnambalam brothers, Sir Rasik Farid, F.R. Senanayaka, T.B. Jaya, Dudley Senanayaka, D.S. Senanayaka, all of them grew up under the roof of Colombo YMBA. So, when we talk about the education, missionary education in Sri Lanka, sometimes I have heard people asking, missionary education, whether it was a vehicle for modernization or a move towards conversion. That is also a question people ask. Now, I received my early education at Kerry College, which is a Baptist school. Father Vikramasinghe was my principal, and thereafter I think it was Father Vernon Veerasinghe who became the principal. So after grade 8, I moved to Dimasanat College, Kandana, which is a Catholic De La Salle Brothers school. And my experience is that if I were to answer that question, whether it was a vehicle for modernization or a move towards conversion, my answer would be it was a vehicle for modernization. Because sometimes people think that when Buddhist children go to Catholic schools or missionary schools, their opinions change. Their attitude towards Buddhism changes. As far as I am concerned, it has not happened. I have not seen that. Because as Buddhist children, those days, we did not see a slightest distinction made by the authorities between Buddhist children and other children. And we received equal treatment. Even at Dimasanat College, we received equal treatment. I went on to be the vice captain of the school, and then I am still invited to open various things there, address gatherings. And even today, I don't see any distinction being made between Buddhist children and any other children, Catholic children or Christian children or anybody else. And so much so, I have got the opportunity to serve the Economic Council as a member of the De La Salle Brothers. I am a very good member of the Lasallian community, and I have close links with the Catholic Church. So, the purpose of education I have seen in the missionary schools also is to build this spirit of understanding, spirit of cooperation, mutual respect, dignity. And we haven't seen any difference drawn, on the lines of religion practiced by children in these schools. So that is a great achievement. And of course, today's education system in Sri Lanka is at a near collapse. Now say for example, due to Corona, ordinary level examination got pushed back by about 6 months. Now after Corona, it's about 4-5 years since end of Corona, but still we have not been able to pull it back to where it was. We don't see any effort being made to do that also. So after, in 1945, when C.W.W. Kannangara introduced free education, Mr. Fernando is also here, a very senior civil servant who has been involved in all spheres of government, really, all activities of government. In 1945, when free education was introduced, what was the purpose of free education? To provide free education to children between the age of 5 and 16, very specifically, with a view to building a strong foundation for economic development of Sri Lanka. But have we achieved that? We haven't achieved that. Through free education, we have not been able to achieve the vision envisioned by its founder, C.W.W. Kannangara, to lay a strong foundation. We have not been able to do that. So, I attribute that to excessive government intervention in the system of education. Because even today, when we travel the length and breadth of this country, we see or we get a lot of complaints or concerns from various communities about how unfairly in certain areas the allocation of resources is taking places with regard to education, especially in the northern and eastern provinces. Actually, we have tried our level best to bring it up, bring it to the notice of the government, bring it up to the proper level, but we have not been able to address these issues successfully. But I think the missionary education has played a great role in building Sri Lanka's educational system. Because I think still it is a strong pillar. I don't want to call it the bedrock, but it's a very, very strong pillar of Sri Lanka's, the entire system of education. So, my message is that we should protect these institutions. Because missionary educational institutes have played a very sort of secular role in this country. So, that is what we need to promote. That secularism we need to promote. Secularism in government, secularism in education, secularism in healthcare. This entire, the fabric of the society should be based on secularism. Because religion we have for our private, in our private domain, for our private use, and we should not be able to use religion to divide people. That is what has happened in this country. And having said all this, I must also say that our education system has failed to deliver one thing. That is building Sri Lanka's leadership. Building Sri Lanka's leadership we have not done through our education system. That is why so far our university education system has not been able to produce an elected head of state for Sri Lanka. The entire education, the entire university education system. There we have failed. Now say for example, recently I addressed 2 convocations of 2 universities in the country, and I asked the graduates at that convocation, how many of them aspire to be the president of the country? Nobody raised their hand. So I said, that is where we have failed. We have not been able to teach our children to think big. If our children don't think big, if the educated don't think big, where are we going? Where are we heading? So I think the educational institute have a great role to play in building leadership, political and economic leadership for country. Because political leadership is the foundation of any economy, any country. Foundation is the political leadership. Economic leadership is the walls. And ethical society is the roof. Ethical, law-abiding society is the roof. We are trying to build the roof without laying the foundation and building the walls. That is where we have missed the bus in this country. But I don't want to be a critic, but I look at the positive side. This education system is remaining, at least in the present form, thanks to the missionary education in Sri Lanka. I think we are grateful for that, and we are very happy to see that way, Reverend Bishop, members of clergy from all religious churches coming together. Today we have a great tendency now. We see a lot of clergy coming together to address common problems, and that spirit of understanding is slowly developing now. That was there, but it disappeared. But now I think it is slowly developing, and we are doing everything possible to promote that. Because so much so, in 1947, the Colombo YMBA membership had included Christians, Methodists, Catholics, Buddhists, Muslims, Boras, all communities have become a part of the Colombo YMBA. So we have a great history. We need to leave this legacy behind for our future generation, and I wish to congratulate Methodist Church for carrying forward its good work in promoting education in Sri Lanka and giving opportunities for children without drawing a distinction, slightest distinction between caste, creed or any other differences. Thank you very much.